I had a deep inclination actually to with the uniformed services. The safety, honor, and welfare of your country comes first always in every time. Whether somebody is watching me or not watching, my behavior has got to be of the highest integrity. There is no individual who's not vulnerable on this earth,
Absolutely.
and soldiers for sure.
He said you'll come out at least in one of them, and I think you mentioned that you came out good in all three of them.
All three of them.
Hence, proved him wrong. So, how was your transition into corporate world? Did you find that challenging?
Corporate world itself was not a challenge, but transitioning phase was a challenge. I was then posted here in Pune. You know National Defence Academy, Kharagpur, right? So I was there chief of HR and administration of the academy. The responsibilities were extremely heavy at that time. But this was also the time when I had a couple of pressures on me. My daughter had also arrived by then, and she was my eye for everything, right? And the three children, they were in a highly impressionable age, right? And my wife was not keeping very good health in those days. So this was a kind of a pressure. Now, by then, I had already earned 26 years of service, right? A thought started coming to mind that, look, I have had one war I had already fought. I said, look, I had commanded a regiment, which is the objective of every officer who joins the services. I must command my regiment. I have reached a stage where I'm very satisfied with what I've done in the services, right? But now it is, and I was 46 years of age at that time. This I'm talking about 1991, yeah, 91.
Okay.
I said, look, I'm fairly young at the moment. I've enjoyed my life in the services, contributed everything I did. I have some pressures, and I thought that I need more stability in life. And I had already done my MBA, by the way. I started thinking of corporates at that time. But how to go about it? I had no clue. I said, how do I approach these guys? I had no contacts in corporates. Though, mind you, a lot of my relatives, quite a few of them, were holding very senior positions in the corporates also. But I said, I'm not going to talk to them about it. How do I do that? उन दिनों एक किताब आती थी, black book, which I still have in my shelf. It says, who is who in the corporate sector.
Is that like a directory?
Directory, yeah, it was like.
Okay.
Right. So I opened up. It had all the lists of the top companies and who were the people who were actually heading those companies.
Heading them.
I selected the ACC, which was a Tata Group company. I selected Levers. Right, I selected Modi Group in Delhi. I selected there were 2 or 3 more companies, I don't remember now, but 5 or 6 companies I selected. And it was, I prepared a resume, my own resume, and wrote a personal DO letter to them, to each one of these people. Whatever addresses were given in that book, I sent it. Can you believe? I got response from 5 companies.
That's nice.
That called me for the interview. And they were all in Bombay, so that it was easy for me to compete. 3 companies selected. I got a selection with ACC. Hindustan Lever shortlisted me, and Modi selected. The ball had started rolling. So at that time, I didn't know what to choose, what not to choose. So one of my uncle was, he's my guru, senior IPS officer, but then at that time he was chairman of Air India. Every time if we were in a fix, I used to consult him. He said, forget everything else, I would suggest that you join ACC. Why? Because it's a Tata Group company. You will not get a shock of moving into because Tata Group company, they have their own culture and all that. So you join. That's my suggestion. And I accepted my offer with ACC. And then what I did was that applied for my premature retirement at that time. So that's how I left Aparna, and that's how I joined ACC. No shocks. I did quite well in the corporate sector also after that.
Very interesting, Colonel. You also had several roles in the corporate world, right? What made you give all of it up when it was going so well for you?
Good question. Yeah. Normally people don't leave like that, and I had the fairly good tenure for about 18 years with the corporates. 18 years, and by then I had almost crossed 18 years plus 40, 46 years, or about 54, 55 years of age. And then I met a couple of people who were, and Ujjwal Butch, you might have heard of him. He is MCC, right? And I met him in Bombay. He was also worked in the corporates for some time. And somehow we talked a lot about this. And he was going for coaching and also. And he said, sir, why don't you also come in? You have so much of a corporate experience and all that. Coaching is now picking up very fast. So we went, and he was applying for Neuro Leadership Group. So I also applied for that and went, and that started my coaching career. And that is also the time when I formed my company called Polaris Consulting. Corporate was very good, but I said I got some of the initial assignments for coaching, etc., because of that.
Yeah.
That is how I moved into coaching, and I'm loving it to the extent.
Absolutely. So all of us have second innings, and you had a third inning, right, in your career. So if you were to compare, Colonel, you said that the transition into corporate was challenging, not the corporate world by itself, right? What are the areas where you found it most challenging?
Most challenging?
The transition.
Most challenging word is the unprofessionalism to a very great extent somewhere. I would not all companies were like that. I mean, I never found ACC unprofessional. I didn't find the subsequently Goje Consumer Group. Very happy with them to work. The challenges were different in different areas. Here the challenges are very different. But some of those leadership qualities can be applied and must be applied here also. And I've seen that. I've applied it and it has helped me.
I'm curious to know, of all this experience that you have, if you were to sum up your life in maybe a sentence or maybe a phrase, what would that be?
Very difficult to say, I tell you really. But I'm happy. That's why I can't put it into phrase, but I would say that I'm happy. So, well, I will think about it. What caption should I give to it? Good. I'm thankful to God and thankful to colleagues like you and many others whom I've met during my army career and also.
Excellent, sir. Amazing. Thank you so much for all your share and some incredible stories there, some lessons. I have certainly picked up so many things from you. In whatever that you have spoken, there's so much that I've picked up, including those two mindset changes, that you talked about, the vulnerability and also fear to unfear. And I wish you all the very best for whatever that is in store that is going to be coming up for you. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you so much, Aparna. It was such a pleasure to interact with you. I've always been very happy interacting with you. And this one was really very good. Thank you My pleasure.
Having the capacity to listen to me, all that thing that I want.
My pleasure, sir.
Thanks
Always love to hear you. Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.